Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith, and I want to actually talk about something that I've made a video on previously, but it came up during a business one-on-one coaching that I had recently. So I did help one of our subscribers apply and actually get approved for 2 business credit cards when they did not have a business. Now, I did let them know I made some content on this, but I felt like I needed to refresh it and make it more specific. So on this video, I'm going to show you the number one way to get business credit cards when you do not have a business or you think you don't have a business. That other video, I'm going to link it somewhere else so you could watch that. I think it's more in depth in what you, if you want a lot more detail. But we're going to actually go through, answer a few questions. The questions really came from this same business coaching. And then we're going to actually fill out an application so you can see exactly the best information to input in order for you to get approved for your business credit card without actually having a incorporated business. All right. So let's get started. So number one question that I get: can you get a business credit card if you do not have a business? And the answer is yes. As long as you earn money outside of your job, you can get a business credit card without being incorporated. Incorporating means you went to your Secretary of State website, you filled out paperwork, and you actually filed with the state to be operating as a separate entity other than yourself. When you do not have a separate entity that you actually incorporated, you are a sole proprietor. So when you file as sole proprietor, you can basically use your personal information when you're making extra income. That's not traditional W-2 or maybe a 1099. This would be income that you're making as an individual, but it is your business. Okay. And this could be anything. Look, it could be Uber. It could be Lyft. It could be if you're a babysitter, if you watch dogs, if you're a tutor, if you're a photographer, if any of these things that you do, if you sell things on eBay, Etsy, if you flip shoes on StockX, any of these things, if you just sell things on Craigslist, all of these things can be used for extra income. And if they're being used for extra income, you're a sole proprietor of this. So that's the simplest way that I can put it. Again, if you want more in-depth information, I did make a video on this. And again, I will link it or I'll put it at the end of this current video. Next question. What if I haven't made any money? That's another big one. Yes, even if you haven't made money yet, you can still be approved for a business credit card. Some banks will offer approval on revenue that is projected. You can look at the application. It will let you know if you need to have any revenue made. For example, with American Express, you need to at least make $1,000 on their application in order for you to be able to submit it. For Chase, you do not need to have any revenue made. You can actually put 0. So these are just 2 separate examples of when you may have to state that you've made something or you've made nothing. But again, if you just babysat, if you tutored, if you did any of these things, if you sold anything, these are all things that you can count as your business and as income that you have made. Other than that, you really don't need to have anything hard. You don't need to have statements. You don't need to have tax returns. On most of these credit card applications, it's just stated documentation for business credit cards. You don't need to have anything hard to actually prove this. All right. So let's move on to the next question. People don't really grasp why business credit cards are so much better than personal. Now, I would say you do need to have good personal credit cards with high limits to also get really good limits on credit cards. But there are a few advantages that make business credit cards one of the best options available. Number one, for most business credit cards, utilization does not show up on your credit report. This will be with the exception of Capital One. That's just the one that I know off the top of my head where they report business credit cards to personal credit. Every other credit card, it does not report your utilization. Let me give you an example. If you have a personal credit card right now with a $20,000 limit and you have a business idea and you're going to use $15,000, or let's say you want to use the whole $20,000. The moment your actual personal credit report shows that you've used 100% of your limit, your utilization will go through the roof and your credit score will significantly fall. It will drop. It will be horrible. That will negatively impact you overall, and potentially your bank could even lower your limit because they're looking at you as a risk. When you have a business credit card, does not show up whatsoever. So no one can see that unless you default on that late payment, something like that. They may report it. Other than that, they're not going to report it for most cards. Again, with the exception of Capital One being one of them that I do know of. There are some other ones, but that's the one that I could think of off the top of my head. Now, number two, you receive much higher limits than you do on personal credit cards. So if you have a personal card, and I can give a good example. If you have a personal credit card like I did for Navy Federal, it started me off with a $2,000 limit. Business started me off with $15,000. When you have a business, you're going to have higher revenue. You're going to have higher spend, which in turn means higher revenue, which means you in turn need higher limits because you need this in order to operate a business. It just makes sense. You're going to have higher cost than a personal credit card. And they will not shorten your history. Because this does not report to your personal credit, you do not have to worry about your history shortening. I had a recent opening of a personal credit card where it shortened my credit history to 1 year and 7 months. When I went to apply for anything else, it told me that 1, too many recent accounts, 2, history is too short. So that did affect it. I had gotten, I think over these last 6 months, I think I've gotten like 7 to 8 business credit cards. None of them have affected my history for my credit on the personal side, and I can keep getting more. So that is another big advantage. Number 4, you also get bigger bonuses with bigger welcome offers. The reason why you get these bigger bonuses is because you have higher spend. So you do have to spend, like, let's say $5,000 in 90 days, $10,000, $15,000 in a certain period because they're expecting you to be using this for business purposes. Now, if you can meet that welcome offer, if you can meet that spend bonus, it becomes very, very lucrative. It becomes very nice, especially if you're doing something like reselling, where you have to buy a lot of products like on a weekly, maybe monthly basis. You're going to spend that money anyway. Now, not only can you get maybe 2% cash back, something like that for the spend, you can also earn other bonuses for doing that too. So now you're just making money with this card. And number 5, you want to make sure that you separate all personal expenses from your business for tax purposes. At the end of the year, it is good to separate that. And as a sole proprietor, there is a way that you can do that. For that, you would want to contact your tax professional and have them guide you on how you would do that. So these are all the reasons, why having a business credit card is one of the best things that you can have. It's the reason why I always mention it. It's the reason why I recommend it over anything else, especially when it comes to personal. With that said, we're going to take a look at 2 separate applications. First application that we're going to take a look at is the American Express business application. The second one that we're going to look at is the Chase business application. I'm going to show you exactly how to fill these out. Once we fill out the first one, then we'll move on to the next one. So right now we are on the American Express business application. And first thing they're going to ask you for is your email address. So you'll want to just provide the email address for your business. I would add that here. Next, you want to put your legal business name. Now, if you're doing this as a sole proprietor, just you would just enter your name, and then you would enter the business name you want on the card. You could just enter your first name and your last name. If you don't have a DBA, a doing business as, then you don't have to worry about that. If you don't know it, then you don't have one. You can just ignore that. A company does not have a DBA. Here, you would enter your business address. If it's your home address, because that's where you do your business, you can go ahead and enter that information here. If your personal number is the number that you're using for your business, you can enter that here as well. Your industry type. Now here, you're going to pick whatever it is that you're currently doing. Wholesale, trade, financial, real estate, construction, agriculture. Let's pick other. And then it's going to choose your structure type. Now right here, we can pick sole proprietorship. Years in business, you can choose less than 1 year. That's fine if you just started. Number of employees, you can actually just put 1 because it's just you. All right, so for gross annual revenue, remember with American Express, it has to be at least $1,000. So we can put $1,000 here. And for our estimated monthly spend, I would just try to be as honest as possible. We could say like $1,500, whatever you honestly think that you're going to be putting on there. And then you can choose your role. As your role, since you're a sole proprietor, I would just pick owner. And this is where you're going to enter your personal information, your first name, your middle name, last name, name on the card. And you can then enter my home address is the same as my business address, since it will be the same. You would then enter your social, because again, as you can see here, because we chose the sole proprietor, there is no option to enter the EIN. If you would change that, then there would be an option for EIN. Let me just show you that really quick. Right here where it says federal tax ID, that's where you would enter your EIN number. But when we choose this option, we notice that it is no longer available there. So we're going to scroll down here, enter our social, phone number, same information, date of birth, your total annual income, whatever that may be, and then non-taxable income if that's applicable, and tell us where to send your bill. Business, home, same thing. It won't matter for this particular application. You submit and your application is complete. It is that easy. Our second application is going to be with Chase. We are on here now. So from here, it's going to ask you for your personal information. So that's where you can enter first name, last name. Now, as you can see, if you had a actual EIN, you can enter that here, but we're going to just keep it on just social. And at the bottom, because the top is going to be pretty much the exact same. We don't really have to go through it. It's the exact same as what you did on the previous one. It's just the same as a personal application. When we get down here to business info and then we choose our legal business structure, sole proprietorship, you can then enter your first name, your last name, the desired name on the card. Same thing, first and last name. Does your business use another name like a trade? Assume the DBA question again. No. And then for tax ID, we just scroll down to not EIN, not ITIN, unless that's what you have. And we go to SSN. Enter it here. Is your business and physical? It's going to be the same. Enter the number of all additional employees, not including yourself. You can put 0. When you were established, your annual revenue, if you have any. For this one, I would enter your personal revenue if you would like. But as you can see, you can also enter 0. So you don't have to technically put anything there if you don't want to. That's not required for the Chase one. And then you could enter your category, whichever one that's applicable to you. Like, for example, let's go to arts, education, and recreation. And let's just do performing arts companies. And then whichever one applies, let's say music groups and artists. It will enter your NAICS code. That's the code that will identify what type of business you are currently operating. You can then enter your monthly spend. Let's just do 1,500 again. And if you want to add any employee cards here, then you can. It's asking you if you want to go paperless, then you can do that. And then you would submit. So pretty much, almost the exact same thing as the Amex one, with the exception that we have to put 0 for our employer information. And then we also have to make sure that that we can enter the business revenue, but we can enter 0 if we're not making money yet. You can also do a projected if you would like. Again, this is all stated, but I would try to keep it as transparent as possible, because even though it is stated, depending on what you put, documentation could be required at a later date. So thank you so much for watching. If this actually did give you more clarity when it comes to getting a business credit card as a sole proprietor, and you don't, feel the need to have to incorporate, then please like, share, and subscribe. If you were able to get any of these credit cards using this same method, please drop a comment below. If you haven't gotten one yet, but you intend to get one, let me know exactly which one you're looking to actually get. I think Amex and Chase are pretty good. Best chances, of course, will be they both do a hard pull from Experian, which you will have. The hard inquiry can be removed because these do not report to your personal credit. That may be a question that you may have. I would have a 700 or higher score. Of course, no derogatory marks, collections, anything like that, for your best chances. And if you have a relationship with Chase, for example, personal bank account, I think this would be a great opportunity for you to further that relationship and also get that with them. And this does not go towards the Chase 524 rule. So you can actually get an additional product with them if you have some of their personal cards. Just another advantage. You can also get some advantages with having a couple of different American Express cards on the business side and the personal side. So this just will enhance everything that you already have if you already have a relationship with these institutions, and can just, further your business needs in the future, as well as give you bonus points, rewards, and other additional things that you can take advantage of. So thank you so much for watching, and you have a great day.